smell? We'll do that first.
We are live on YouTube.
We're live, okay. And we're just 1 minute after. Well, everybody, we have some business that we take care of before we can actually get started. We need to swear in our newest member, Jason West. And so, Jason, why don't we get where it's a little less claustrophobic and go out in the front there.
I'm with the media today.
Where's your press pass?
Right here. Okay, excellent. You ready to do this thing? Okay. Well, if you would please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jason West,
I, Jason West,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that upon entering office,
that upon entering office,
I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the Municipal Planning Commission for the City of Mount Vernon,
of the Municipal Planning Commission for the City of Mount Vernon,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You bet. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, and I'll have you, I should have just given this to you to sign here. I'll have you sign that and we'll get you a copy. You're all set then. Okay. All right. The Municipal Planning Commission for May the 11th, 2023 will now come to order. Mrs. Blankenhorn, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Starr.
Here.
Mr. Zick. Mr. Hawkins. Mr. Swallow.
Here.
Mrs. Warga.
Here.
Mr. Deal. Mr. West.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Thank you very much. Okay. Before we get started, as I'm pulling up my notes here. Where are we? Okay, we have just a general reminder is what we do before each meeting. I'd like to read this as just part of the procedure. As a reminder to all here today, the purpose of the Municipal Planning Commission is to balance the public good with private property rights and interests. Also, the Commission carries out all other powers and duties conferred upon it by the City of Mount Vernon's zoning ordinance or other city ordinances and the laws of the State of Ohio. This is a public meeting, and there are rules of decorum that we follow. We are committed to the democratic process, individual rights of expression, robust debate, and tolerance for different viewpoints. The following general rules of civility are expected, including addressing others in a respectful manner, no insulting, personal attacks, intimidating, or offensive communications, no harassment, no willful destruction or damage of property, and no disruptive behavior. Please silence all cell phones or any other electronic devices and refrain from private conversations during the meeting. If you need to come and go through the meeting, you may do so, just do so in the least disruptive manner. If you are offering public comment today, you must first be sworn in. There is a paragraph that will have you read at the lectern here before you get going, and we turn the lectern over to you. Doesn't look like we have as many people in the room as we did the last time, so I don't think we have to put a 4-minute time limit on comments. So anyway, but if you start getting long-winded, we might just move it along. Who knows? Again, the purpose of this commission is to oversee that the law is followed and planning concurs within which the spirit of those laws and regulations have been adopted by the City of Mount Vernon and the State of Ohio. So, with that, commission members, you had in your packets the minutes from the Municipal Planning Commission, the special meeting on May 4th. Any additions or corrections to those? Then we'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Warga. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Swallow. Any discussion? All those in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Okay, we have a few items up for discussion this afternoon. So Mrs. Blankenhorn, if you would read each one. We'll act on each one individually, I imagine, not all of them all together. So, okay.
2023 MPC 11 to vacate portions of Liberty Street and South Alley.
Okay, so who would be speaking about this project? So you, sir, you want to come up to the microphone, introduce yourself, and we'll have you read that statement then, too.
Okay. My name is Jamison Price. I'm the manager of Central Ohio Farmers Co-op here in Mount Vernon. I affirm that my testimony is truthful and to the best of my knowledge and my ability, so help me God, or under the penalty of perjury.
Welcome, Mr. Price. It's all yours.
We are looking, and it's actually not Liberty, it's Lewis Street.
It is.
I wondered
Well, we
about
need to
that.
make a correction to that in the official motion.
Yes.
We're looking to see if we could acquire Lewis Street between Gambier and Vine Street
Okay.
for future or for much needed expansion. We're having problems locating grounds to throw our grain scales.
Okay.
We need flat ground for at least 60 foot for the scale plus approaches. And we're trying to consolidate our footprint smaller, yet to make things, well, more secure and more efficient. And since we own the ground on the west side of Lewis Street, bolts all the way down, that would give us an option to install more grain bins. That would give us potential more storage. That is the main gist of it on my side. I mean,
Okay.
it's just a matter of how it works. It also gave us the opportunity, we could fence in our facilities, as we have been getting quite a bit of vandalism. And tighten up, we want to tighten our footprint.
Sure. Okay. Very
And
good.
the easiest way I can think of is if Lewis Street we could somehow get that piece of it, we'd have enough room to put 80 foot of scale, and then we'd probably build a new office there.
And so the traffic then would have also more room to turn around or maneuver, or how
It
does
would
that?
have to be shut. That piece would have to be just basically closed.
Okay.
Your traffic.
Our
The
traffic.
truck traffic.
Well.
Yeah, I was talking about your business traffic there.
Where Lewis Street is, this is north. Our grain dumps here. The scales would sit right in here on Lewis Street,
Yeah.
and then this would make this into a racetrack.
Shape.
Shape.
Thank you for clarifying.
Basically, trucks would come in, cross scales, come around the corner here, dump, go back across scales and out.
What are they doing right now?
Harvest.
What are they doing right now?
They're over here,
Okay.
and when they come across, we have to cross Gambier blindly,
Okay.
because it's on an angle and it's hard right. And they have to cross, move around the rail switch, and then come in and dump, come around. They have to make this turn, and make a hard right turn back on our scales.
Okay.
So it's kind of challenging. I mean, the elevator was there for what, 100 years? So we're trying to work. If we can move the scales there, we'll put an office in here, and then we could put bins, and eventually maybe this would go out to Kinney Road,
Okay.
the fertilizer blend plant.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay.
This is $1 million to move, so we're biting pieces. So the scales is kind of the first trip. I mean, we're looking at $300,000 for scales, plus office. It could look, $500,000 right out of the gate just to get scales and office right here in town. And then the first bid, if we did anything, would be put on the vacant lot that we
Okay.
own already.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's the thing, and during harvest, we're looking, since we own this all the way over where Mark's used to be, we would stack our inbound grain traffic up during harvest to help offset traffic on Gambier Street
Got it.
to make this more of a condensed, tight thing. Not guarantee, it depends on the harvest and weather. 2 years ago, we were lying down Gambier, Vine, Norton Street. But for a small facility, this facility almost turns as much grain capacity through it as the Fredericktown facility, North Fredericktown mill, which is 1.2 million. This is 300,000, and I usually turn it 3 to 5 times during harvest. So we need a little bit more capacity. So getting us, the scale is the key, and then we would have the ability to add bins.
Okay,
But I want to do it in a way that we're good partners with the city.
sure, sure. Do you have any questions for Mr. Price?
I do not, no, sir. But I would add, but you want to make sure that you vacate, you haven't mentioned it, but you do want to vacate part of South Alley too.
Well, we own all the way over past the end of this building
Yep.
to right here.
But aren't you,
Part of the alley. Part
but-
of the alley.
right, but aren't you asking to vacate that as well?
No, just to the,
Just to the end of your property?
Correct.
Of the first two parcels, the
Yeah.
186 and
be
the
about, it'll be right
one,
here.
I think it says 100 maybe?
Yeah.
With the 600 West Vine Street, that
Yeah,
is
the half
in the,
alley would not do us any useful purpose. So it's just basically there. The only reason we need that is because if we put scales here, the alley becomes basically non-accessible. And if we put bins there, it's, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes sense. I just want to make sure we
No.
included it. Yeah.
Yep. And then this is in process of rezoning because I didn't even realize this was residential, this parcel. This is commercial. Pardon me, I'm not very good
No,
on
it's fine.
political side. I'm an agronomist manager, so I'm out of my wheelhouse right here on this.
Well, we're out of our wheelhouse when you start talking about all these grades and everything, so.
I just see all the dollar signs and what's gonna cost, so it's unreal right now.
Well, are there any other questions for Mr. Price? Okay. Is there anybody who would like to speak in support of this proposal? Please.
I have a question.
You still have to, you still have to,
My name is Mel Severns. My address is 21 Longitude Drive, Mount Vernon. I affirm that my testimony is truthful to the best of my knowledge and ability. So help me God, or under penalty of perjury. And I'm on city council here,
Okay,
so
that's fine.
just so my question: Are we actually closing South Lewis, that portion? They're going
That would
to
be that.
essentially buy this portion, or
they wouldn't buy it. When the city vacates, it's essentially, I guess you would call it gifted to the owners on each side. In this case, they own all the property on both sides, so they would get the whole piece.
okay?
And then it would be closed because they're looking to gate it off
Okay.
to,
So we're basically closing that.
yes.
Yeah.
That's
Once we put a scales in there, it would be an unsafe place to have traffic coming.
Okay. I just had never heard of that, so that's all clear.
cool. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak in support of this? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against this? Is there anybody who wishes to speak in general about this?
I can answer any more questions.
We'll keep it moving. We'll keep moving along. I think in that case, I'll. Lacey, did you receive any? Or Mrs. Blankenhorn? I'm sorry, I'm
It's okay.
leaving the formality out the window. Did you receive any? It's been a long week. Did you receive any communications received either through phone calls or in writing in support or against this at all?
I did not, but I do have some statement from the city engineer.
Okay, good.
I spoke with Brian this morning on his way to the stormwater conference. He is in support of this request. He said that the vacation makes sense to him. It will help keep Farmers Co-op as an employer in the city. They estimate 600 to 800 trucks per season. If they move the entire operation to Kenny Road, those trucks will still come through the town but not be doing business inside the city. And his goal is to get the rail line back in service, which would then also benefit the Heartland Commerce Park.
Very well, thank you. So that's, I'm assuming that where there are no shade tree issues with this at all.
No.
And Ms. Ms. Whitney, do you see any legal reasons why this shouldn't proceed, or any concerns that you have?
No, I do not. So in looking at the revised code section that would allow for this, I believe that if the board is in favor of it, then it would be appropriate to do so.
Okay. I guess at this point, we will ask for a motion, but we know we need to amend this to change from Liberty Street to Lewis Street. So is there a motion to amend this item, changing the name from Liberty Street to Lewis Street?
And I just want to add, this is a recommendation to council.
Thank you.
Because
Yeah.
this request went to council first. They referred it to this commission for review and a recommendation back to them. So then they will ultimately vote on it.
So we can, yeah, thank you for that, Mr. Blankenhorn. We, first, we would need to amend the item, and then we'll make a motion to recommend to council wherever you wish to go with this. So is there a motion to amend this item?
I'd make that motion.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the amendment of this to vacate portions of Liberty Street,
No, Lewis.
Lewis.
or Lewis Street, Lewis Street and South Alley instead of Liberty Street. Any discussion on the amendment? Mrs. Blankenhorn.
Mayor Starr.
Yes.
Mr. Swallow.
Yes.
Mrs. Warga.
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
It is amended. Now we will entertain a recommendation to council. Is there a motion to recommend passage of this?
I would make that recommendation and make the motion to
Okay.
approve.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? Mrs. Blankenhorn.
Mayor Starr.
Yes.
Mr. Swallow.
Yes.
Mrs. Warga.
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
It is approved.
It is
Next.
recommended.
It is recommended. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, did I say it's been a long week? It is recommended, City Council. Okay, we're up for the next item, 3801.
(2023) MPC 13, a zoning amendment for 600 West Vine Street. Central Ohio Farmers Co-op requests the zoning district assigned to 600 West Vine Street be amended from R2 single and two-family district to GB general business district.
Thank you. Mr. Price, you want to come up and talk about this again a little bit? Just briefly. I think we got the gist of it the last time, but
Need to sign in again?
no, you're fine. You're still considered under oath here.
It's the lot on the west side of Lewis that was where we had a house that we owned, and then we tore down and turned, was in a drug house. So it's been parking lot for 3 years, I believe now.
Okay.
So I didn't even realize that was an issue. See, I'm not a very good politician.
Neither are we. Well,
Any questions?
If you need to know how to kill weeds, I can help you.
Weeds or weed? Is that it?
I can do both. I'm pretty versed in killing things. But no, that's all that was for, as part of the whole.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Price? Okay. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in support of this, in general or against? And Mrs. Blankenhorn, do you receive any communications?
I did not.
Are there any engineering concerns?
No.
Okay. Ms. Whitney, do you see any legal reasons why this should not proceed?
No, Mayor.
Okay. And the chair will entertain a motion to recommend, this is a recommendation.
Correct.
To recommend to City Council that this be rezoned from R2 single and two-family district to general business.
I'll move the motion.
Okay, it's moved to recommend this to council. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We got a second. He's on the board here now. All right. It's been moved and seconded for the recommendation to City Council to change the zoning from R2 single and two-family district to general business district. Any discussion? Mrs. Blankenhorn.
Mayor Starr.
Yes.
Mr. Swallow.
yes.
Mrs. Warga.
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
It is approved. It is recommended. Sorry, see, there I go again. Lord. Okay. The third item is MPC 15. Mrs. Blankenhort, will you review that one for us, please?
2023 MPC 15 applies city zoning to annexed parcels, and this involves 4 separate parcels. The first is 70-00366.005, then 70-00366.004. Those are both on Norton Street, and then 70-00366.003 and 70.00366.002. Those last two are on West Gambier Street, behind the former Glass Garden Greenhouse.
Got it.
When you look at the map, there are 2 parcels that are right along West Gambier Street that are already GB, and then the ones in yellow were what were just annexed. So I'm recommending that they get applied with GB zoning to match. And then the Norton Street, there was 2 different designations: Clinton Township RRA, which I believe is a agricultural designation, and then the larger parcel was zoned GB in Clinton Township. I'm recommending both of those be assigned GB within city.
Okay.
One quick question.
Sure.
Do you need me to stick around anymore?
I think you're good. Yeah. You can go.
Just we're in the field and we're working right now.
Go get them.
I got corn planters rolling, and I got 3 sprayers all over the county. If we're good, I'm good.
Yep.
You're good. Mr. Price, thank you for coming.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Price. Yeah, you bet. I'm assuming, Mr. Ram, do you wish to describe this project here, or this proposal?
I'll try to do that.
Okay, we'll have you swear in there.
All right. My name is Mark Ramser, and my address is 104 Duff Street, Gambier. I affirm that my testimony is truthful to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God, or under penalty of perjury.
Welcome.
Thank you. So these are all properties that I am or have been associated with. I'm president of High Cumberland Gas, so that involves the 7 acres on Norton Street. I'm the owner of Knox County Properties, and at the time we annexed the properties into the city, I owned the properties that are associated with Glass Garden Greenhouse, and have since transferred those 2 properties to my sister Susan. And the reason we annexed those properties in the city was primarily so that where there were issues with homeless people, primarily, that were crossing back and forth between those properties which were in Clinton Township, between those properties and properties in the city. So jurisdiction became a little bit of an issue, and the city, along with me, decided probably it was cleaner if they were in the city, and that way the city police could have jurisdiction and probably be able to respond in most cases more quickly than the sheriff's department. So we annexed those, I think it was in 2021 or 2022, and so I guess I wasn't aware of this part of the process, but we need to ask for a change in zoning from how it was zoned in Clinton Township to the zoning that Lacey is recommending, which I'm in agreement with.
This is pretty much a housekeeping.
It is.
Okay.
It's just part of the
Yeah.
process of annexation. It probably
Got it.
should have been here sooner, but I just got
all
a
right.
chance to work on it.
That's all right. What have you been doing? Okay. Any questions for Mr. Ramser? Does anybody wish to speak on behalf, against, or in general about this? Mrs. Blankenhorn, it's your recommendation. I'm assuming Mr. Ball is behind this as well.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Whitney, do you have any concerns?
No.
By the way, did you receive any communications either for or against this?
I did not, but for full disclosure, the notifications in the mail went out late. They were mailed on Monday. There was a notice in the newspaper on the April 29th, so that was out in time, but I did not get the mailed ones out in time. I had one person email me this morning about the Gambier Street properties, more just trying to find out what the plan with the property was, and I emailed them back and let them know that there really is no plan, that this is a housekeeping measure
Yeah.
on my part. So she just responded and said, received, thank you.
Okay, very well. Well, if there are no other concerns from the administration, then we'll entertain a motion to recommend to council?
I would make that motion that we recommend to council the change in zoning.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the change in zoning. Any discussion? And we'll call the roll. Mrs. Blankenhorn.
Mayor Starr,
Yes.
Mr. Swallow,
Yes?
Mrs. Warga,
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
We'll send the recommendation. We'll get it to them before the next council meeting here then too. So, any other order of business? And is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. West.
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
There's a second.
He's on the board both times out. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all. Thanks. Yeah, you bet.
Welcome again.
Very nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
It's too bad that he didn't come on the last meeting
know.
a week ago.
Well, I didn't train him yet. We didn't go through orientation.
There,
So,
there you go.
Anyway.